Hey guys, it's Eric with the Miller Park Minute, where we're throwing strikes and getting likes, hitting dingers, and getting listeners back again with another episode. We're just coming at you on a Friday night. This is going to go live on Saturday. Talking baseball, talking Brewers baseball. We're going to talk about some trades that happened around the league today. And we're just going to get into it for a few moments. We're going to react to Adam McCalvy article, beat writer, newsletter, whatever you want to call it. We're going to react to that. But before we get into all that, guys, remember this is a daily show. It airs at 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time every day. We talk baseball, we throw likes, we get strikes. We're the only Brewers daily podcast, and I mean daily. I mean every day of the week you're going to find new content, Miller Park Minute related. We're also going to bring some team members aboard. We've already got the Butcher, so we're gonna expand on. We're looking for expansion. So if anybody would like to join live on the show, I am putting up the invite on the daily on the Facebook page. So feel free to hop on board, talk Brewers with me. I am doing it as we speak. So if you would like to be on my podcast, you have the opportunity to do so. And I really, this idea actually came to me from a fellow podcaster and sports enthusiast. Mr. Bart Winkler does this just about on the daily. So that is live on Facebook. So I told you guys I'd be doing that. Now I'm recording a little earlier than I normally record because it's Friday night and I am going to be driving later. So that's why that's up. But yeah, if you guys could remember to like and subscribe to the podcast, if you could leave a review, rate and review on your podcast platforms, we'd really appreciate that. And we have a new website, millerparkminute.com. There's going to be a little place for you guys to interact. I may do a newsletter. I don't know. I'm not a writer. I think I've said that 100 times. I am not a writer. I'm not a guy who does writings. So that's up for debate yet. That's yet to be seen. But this show is just about baseball, talking baseball. I am a fan. I am not a journalist. I talk to you guys and just air my grievances and what I have to say and what I react to what other fans say. So come along for the journey. That being said, before we get into the content, just remember to use the code MillerParkMinute at checkout at SeatGeek to save yourself $20 off your first purchase with SeatGeek. That being said, we are out of the advertising segment. I am going to read this verbatim, or a good portion of it, I guess, and just kind of continue the discussion. Now, if you watched or listened to yesterday's episode, I already talked about Willy Adames and how I believe they actually, that wasn't yesterday. That was the day before. Well, no, 2 days. This whole week has basically been Willy Adames podcasts. So, yeah, that's what we got to talk about right now. But I think the same can be applied, whether it's Brandon Woodruff, whether it's Willy Adames. It doesn't matter who it is. It can be applied. So, let's go ahead. Oh, that turns it into an invite. Okay, cool. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this. So, Adam McCalvy was the talk. Adames was the talk of Wednesday night's Hot Stove and Cold Brews Fan Fest in Milwaukee as the ever smiling shortstop took photos with fans, mixed cocktails, met the media. Especially when he met the media, Adames, one of a handful of Brewers stars 2 years shy of free agency, reiterated that he wants to stay in Milwaukee long term. I love the city. I love the fans. I love playing here, he said. And here's the part that really jumped out. We haven't had any conversations yet, but I am always ready to listen to what they have. I don't blame fans for being shocked to hear that. Here is the charismatic player who has supercharged the Brewers after coming over in a trade in 2021, who has been voted club MVP each of the past 2 seasons and at a 4.7 F WAR in 2022 delivered nearly twice the value of any Milwaukee position player. He expressed publicly adamantly that he wants to stay. He even picked up the bar's tab for 600 fans on Wednesday night. It's perfectly reasonable to ask why a team wouldn't talk to that player about an extension. Here's the problem. Just like Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff, the 2 other extension candidates, Brewers officials, including GM Matt Arnold, have a policy not to discuss these matters on the record, except for the most general of terms to say the team is open to talks, that it's a two-way street to make a deal. Arnold, like David Stearns before, never goes farther than that because it benefits no one to go head-to-head with a player through the media. So we are not exactly hearing both sides. And that's the truth. I mean, in anything, going into like a war like this is not a good thing. It's best to keep conversations, negotiations. That's why I don't openly talk about, like, anybody that's coming on my show. I don't openly talk about it or press it until the day of or until I actually record the podcast. I drop hints once podcasts are recorded. I like to make sure something's a sure thing. And I think that goes to be said with everything. Before lately, I wasn't even in the process of announcing a free agent signing until the Brewers website announced a free agent signing, which some people like and some people don't. I have to go based off of the gut and what I feel is going to be the most progress for my channel, and if I don't have to redact anything. So I don't like redacting things. I don't like coming back on what I've already said. So it goes on to say the thing is, we know there have been indeed some conversations between the Brewers and Adames. Adames said so at the end of last season when he relayed a conversation with then President of Baseball Operations Stearns, in which Adames said he expressed his openness to stay. Logic and experience tell us that the Brewers and Adames reps have talked more than it seems. During the last season, there were some rumblings that the Brewers had even put an offer in front of Adames sometime before opening day. Though neither Adames nor the team has confirmed that, and we know that sides have had extensive contract this winter. Since Adames, like Burns, Eric Lauer, Luis Urias, Castanera, and others are represented by CAA Sports, isn't it illogical to think that during the various discussions, the sides broached the concept of long-term contracts, even if just to get a vibe of interest? So basically, a lot of the younger guys are on minor deals, and they like to not talk about that fact. That's kind of the hidden rule of baseball. It looks like we have somebody in here, so I am just going to to them real quick and see if they're wanting to come on. There's a chat function down there. If you look at it, you can see what I said. But basically, they're talking about these young guys, and I'm also certain that Arnold loves Adames, considering Arnold was with the Rays when Adames got traded from the Tigers to the Rays in the David Price deal. It talks here, and then it goes into, he's basically just showing off the so it looks like she's down there. Hold on one second. Basically, the article then lays out, or the report here then lays out, Fernando Tatis, 14 years, 340. Francisco Lindor, 10 years, 340. Corey Seager, 10 years, 325. 6 years, 140 mil. Trevor Story got 6, 140. Marcus Simeon got 7 years, 175. Trey Turner, 11 years, 300 million. Xander Bogaerts, 11 years, 280. Dansby Swanson. That was the one I couldn't remember last night on the podcast. And I said, I think over 100 million, and it's 177 million. So Carlos Correa, 6, 120. Basically, what they're saying is that we are looking in the 23 to 25 million per year range. In context, 26 million per year is Christian Yelich's mark right now. So Christian Yelich right now is sitting in a mark that is kind of below where all these big shortstops are coming in, and that is. There's good and bad to it. I mean, we're looking at bringing a guy on later when contracts have already gotten more expensive, and we've come a long ways from where Ryan Braun signed an extension, everything like that, and it's totally a different ball game, and it's only going to get more expensive. So why not sign him when we can get him maybe at a shorter take? The article goes on to talk about kind of the rise that we've seen in payroll and everything like that. I'm not going to read word for word every piece of this article because McCalvey does get long-winded. There are some notes here down at the bottom, so I will go through this. The Brewers haven't made any splashy bullpen additions this winter, but manager Craig Counsell likes what he's got. The additions include Javi Guerra, Joel Payamps, Bryce Wilson, Jason Junk, if he doesn't start, and Elvis Perguo, Tyson Miller, Rolf Draft, Gus Varland, Abner Uribe, and Cam Robinson. A lot of these relievers are just guys that have terrible names, and I butcher them all until I hear them. So I guess to me that's the big thing is we've added so many pieces here. We'll see how they all shape out. Right. Yes. My live viewer said I have to learn the Spanish. I don't know Spanish. I really don't. I know a few phrases from a class I took back in the day on Spanish for car sales. Yes, I was a car salesman back in the day. Don't hate me. Jesse Winker, newly acquired, coming off left knee and neck surgeries. He's been working out at the American Family Fields of Phoenix. Is doing awesome. Arnold says, consider him a strong bounce back candidate. So basically at this juncture, they're saying he's a fit to bounce back. Outfield prospect, our number 2 prospect, expects to start the season in the minors. I would like to play at AAA. Then I have my own destiny, which Sal Frelick is going to definitely be a AAA. I think we've got a lot of guys that are definitely going to start in the minors and then eventually work their way up. What is our payroll? That is a great question for you to ask. So right now, the would leave no more room for error. This is actually right from the article here. Our last year we were at about 137 million. Now we've gone up just a hair. I'm trying to figure out kind of a rough number. So there is an article that comes out, and I notated this yesterday or the day before on the podcast. And it talks about what their payroll is, what they made on merchandise, what they made on gate revenue and all that stuff. And that stuff is all coming. We're not there yet. But I always like to dig into that because that also gives you kind of a where did the money go? What are we spending the money on? One of the big things about this as a fan watching is like, okay, they make all this money. Where does it go? What are we doing? And yeah, so they're saying basically these contracts would beef up our, and we're well, like in comparison to other teams, we're like teams that I consider in our league or in our ballpark, we're well below them. Now you could compare us to Oakland, or you could compare us to. I saw a funny tweet actually. That's funny. Oakland's. You want to know that stuff? Yeah. So Oakland's payroll in 2002 was actually $39 million, and this year it's 22 million going into 2023. So it's ludicrously different. And things like the Pirates spend, I think they're just at about $100 million, something like that. So there are teams that really aren't spending, where you look at like, I'm going to look at exact, because I don't know the exact number. The Cubs are one that kind of is right in our ballpark because we compete directly with them. So the Cubs projected payroll, or the Cubs payroll according to Fangraphs, or Sports Track, I should say. I use Sports Track. Sports Track gives you the payrolls. If they could give us a total. Projected total tax collections, projected total payroll 176. So we're still below that mark. I mean, we're still far below that. So you want to know, I can just break down payrolls. That's fine. So let's go on team payrolls. Sports Track is where you go. New York Mets, 297. New York Yankees, 258. San Diego Padres, 219. So, I mean, the top 16 teams in this are basically Toronto, LA, Atlanta, and they're spending like Boston, for instance. Boston spends 163. We are definitely in the bottom half of this with our payroll. Milwaukee Brewers, actually, I'm sorry. They're saying it's going to balloon up to 137. But right now they're saying we're at about 90. So we are well below the line. We're not even crossing the 100 million mark. That's it. Yeah. So that's what they're saying. We're not even crossing yet. 2023. Okay. So that's last year to this year, 92. Now we've added some contracts and stuff like that. So that's a projected number. So it's not total accurate number. But there is still, okay, so we're number 21. So there's still 20 teams above us with better, spending more money, if that makes sense to you. It's ludicrous. It really is. And you go back to what they're saying, and and it's kind of funny because in this article, McKelvey exactly points out that a lot of people call him out for pandering to the team, and he does. That's what he does. He panders to what the team wants and what's a team friendly statement. And to me, it's like, I understand that he's paid by the team. He's the Brewers beat writer, so he is an employee, and that's where these conversations are fun, and that's why I like doing this, because it's more entertaining to me to have these discussions and be like, okay, well, let's be real here. All this payroll and all these numbers are public knowledge. You can look at what the Brewers spent their money on, what the income was. It's all there. It's all live on the internet. There for us to read. Forbes puts out what they make at the gate, what they make at the merchandise sales and that kind of thing. But yeah, 329 million total projected this year for the New York Mets. Now, I don't know what moves were affected by this or anything like that. So I can't tell you who exactly is incorporated in this number, like the Carlos Correa thing that was there and then fell apart, that kind of thing. So, but we've got a lot of room to grow. I mean, even if we could just get into we could go spend $30 million and safely still be in the bottom half of spenders in Major League Baseball in general. So I think that's kind of an important thing. I mean, you look at players, and this is on the cusp of a player, and this kind of goes outside of the Brewers, but this is on the cusp of a player like Shohei Ohtani coming to the market, and he's going to be a guy that's going to get $500 million. That's what everyone's prediction. I mean, I saw it 5 times over today from different sources saying, yeah, they're expecting the market to be $500 million, and that's why the Dodgers and some other teams stayed out of talks for anything. Another news and note: Jazz Chisholm from the Marlins is moving to center field. He says he's going to be a Gold Glover. I think that's great. I like his enthusiasm for it. And that's part of the biggest trade of the offseason that I think has the most impact is in a rare swap, the AL batting champ, Luis Ariz. If you don't know who Luis Ariz is, he's one of the best pure hitters in the game. Was traded from the Twins to Miami. So Miami's just all of a sudden gotten in, making a bunch of moves. For Pablo Lopez, 2 prospect infielders, Jose Salas and Brian Churro. Not Churro like our guy, but Brian Churro. That's a pretty big deal. And that's where that comment by Jazz came in. Jazz is kind of one of those outlandish players. He's kind of interesting and entertaining all at the same time. As far as Brewers news and notes, like, again, today's a no news day. So, like, on no news days, that's when there's not much to say, unfortunately. But seeing these projected payroll numbers gives me another avenue to speak on. I mean, you could legit pay, if we're projected at 92, say we're at 100, say all in with people we've extended and paid more, or through the arbitration process. I apologize. Through the arbitration process, we've paid them more money. Say we're at 100. That still leaves us, we're not even approaching 150. You could throw $2 $25 million a year contracts on there. If you could get Willy Adames to sign on for $25 to $26 million a year for 5 years, why wouldn't you do it? And you're still, they always talk about that threshold and being below the threshold. Well, you're still below half the freaking league at that point. The number 15 team is the Colorado Rockies. Yes, believe it or not, the Colorado Rockies spend more money than us. They spend 155. So that's ludicrous. That's absolutely ludicrous to think about that. I mean, I don't know how we can even, justify that. Now, the other outliers here is Oakland. Yeah, like I said, Oakland, $37 million. This is projected what they're supposed to be. Tampa Bay Rays, $44. What do the Pirates pay? I want to know the Pirates. 56. The Pirates are at 56. That's terrible. That's the whole team. 56? What? Oh my dear God. So that is nuts. That's ludicrous. That is ludicrous. So I think you can pay a shortstop. Milwaukee, get with it. The other thing I wanted to mention in brief was BrewerFanatic.com. I mention them every day because they are affiliated with me. It's not paid promotion. It's just basically affiliation. We decided to work together and what's the impact of Brian Anderson signing on the Brewers roster? That is a great question because he is very comparable to Urias numbers wise. I'm going to ask the live viewer a quick question. Do you think that do you not like Luis Urias? Like, there's been a lot of hate, and a lot of people have been like, "We need a third baseman," and I'm like, "Why? We have one." And I don't know why that is. So if you want to write that in the live feed, you can also just join to watch me live. I mean, this person who is on, I don't know if you want your name mentioned, but this person who is on has asked before if she could watch me live. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And that's where I also started putting up the feed. There's this other guy on this website that does videos, and he's actually kind of good. I think he's more, he's a writer, but check it out. That's really all they got for new stuff. My beautiful mug is on the middle of that page. So what this page does is basically it's a Brewers community. Yes, he does. He does. Someone asked Mark about that next week. Yeah, I do too. I'm lining up a guest for next week. Former TV broadcaster. He's all but confirmed. And it's just a matter of timing and when. And that's what I do with every one of these. I try to time them and work with their schedule. And it's always hard because you never know like who's going to be available and what they make their availability. And like, I'm a fan. I'm nobody special. You know, I have a small following on a YouTube channel that I put out every day. I am not a season seat holder as of right now. Not saying that I won't be, but I haven't had the desire and the urge. And I have a kid who's in baseball and I coach his baseball team. So it's like, it's also very hard for me to commit to a plan. And during the summer, I just work. I work a lot. Oh, you are. Oh, you might have to be my inside source. You might have to be my inside source and tell me the juicy stuff that happens. I need like a pass. Do they give you like a bring a friend pass? Because if they do, I'm all for it. I want to chat. I want to be a part of it. If they let you bring a friend, let me know. I would gladly. I would have my camera and I'd be like, just record every answer. Because there are people at those things. Like I've gone to a handful of them. I went to one with Scooter Jeanette back in the day when I was a ticket holder, and there are some people that ask really difficult questions, and I love it. I love those people because it's like you are just ballsy and bold. So I did have a conversation with the person who is going to be on tomorrow's episode. Yeah, tomorrow I am recording an episode and doing a live session. So if you want to come back for that live, you are more than welcome to. But I have a special guest, another podcaster, and we're going to be talking about who we think is going to be on the opening day roster. We're going to talk about division standings. I already kind of gave an early prediction on that, but I'll give more. Any team awards, any MVPs, anything like that, if we think anybody's going to be in the race. I really do enjoy kind of sitting down with different people and doing this. I love it when I get random people that pop in and listen. I love it just talking. And it's really fun for me. I don't know if anybody actually commented on that post. I've been doing this every day, and it was actually inspired by the person that's in here. She asked if she could watch live, and I said, yeah, you could definitely watch live. And then I learned how to share the link and stuff like that because it's basically the same as like me putting it live on YouTube, but I just don't put it live on YouTube because then it's more editing and chopping and all this stuff that I really just don't want to do. I mean, I'd probably get more viewership. Maybe in the near future, it'll change my viewership model. I don't know. But it's not about that. It's not about like trying to make the most. Like, I'm not here to make money. I mean, I'm just here, a fan with a microphone and chatting with a little bit of an audience that I have. So I appreciate each and every one of you. and I don't say it nearly enough. I am just looking at anything and everything that I was covering today. I had, see, you're throwing me off. Having somebody live is throwing me off. No, I'm just kidding. I do appreciate your questions though. That really helps. Because you turn something a totally different direction when you have someone asking a question, and it turns you into a different frame of thought. I have to say I really enjoyed the pictures of all the old players this week. I don't know if you saw that, but that was really fun to watch. The other piece of this is we are going live literally tomorrow, so I will have time to respond to everyone's. I think that's the Saturday lives are always going to be about responding to people's questions, inquiries, and messages, tweets that come at me. There was one other thing I screenshotted and I can't find it. Where is my screenshot? There's a Pokemon screenshot. There's a Pokemon on my head. My kid was playing Pokemon. He took a picture of a Pokemon on my head. Down the rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go. Is it on Twitter? I had something else. I really did. I don't know what it was. This is why I need to write more notes before I get live. And a lot of this is just me spinning in the web of stuff that I listen to and the content that pours into my heart and soul every day as I just bleed for the sport and really listen to every podcast. That's why I do a podcast, because I listen, I consume, and then I come back at the audience like this, and I have a lot to say. And now I have my own platform for it, so I'm going to message you. I will message you my questions. What are good baseball podcasts? I like Effectively Wild. That's a Fangraphs podcast. I do listen to Locked On. Brandon over there at Locked On does a decent job. He took over for Dom. He's new to it and he's getting his feet wet, so he's getting a feel for it. I mean, a lot of people have to prepare to come on, where I'm a person who I just come on, and like today, literally the title of the episode is IDFK. So I had no idea where this podcast was going, so that's why I named it that on the podcast platform, or the studio where I record these. So that's literally why I name it that, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I'll eventually. I like that one. That's a good one. See, and that's where I love this, because I can crowdsource, idea source. The Butcher's show actually was going to be originally the chopping block, and then I was like, no, Fresh Cuts with the Butcher works, and I gotta get a picture of you holding the cleaver, and in like a blood-stained apron, like a butcher, and I still gotta do it. I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be my, like, he's gonna have an icon with that. We just haven't had the time to do it and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do, just little promotional stuff and stupid little things along the way that I thought about a billboard, but billboards are really expensive. I priced it out. I did. I looked at a couple of them. Draw a cartoon version. I don't have art skills. Like if I had a team with art skills, like I put up a website the other day, millerparkminute.com, go check it out. And that was all template based. Like how I cut into promos and ads all the time. Yeah. That was all template based. So that was something I literally did with like the template they produce, and then I just changed coloring and stuff like that. And I'm good with that stuff. Like I have no problem. I used to build websites back in the day when it was coding. But like I can't draw. I am not an artist. My wife is an artist. She is great at drawing. Awesome drawer. My kid's an artist. He's the stuff he draws, the little scratches he draws. Perfect. And don't worry, I will credit you for that. So I appreciate it. Thanks for volunteering for that. But yeah, that's really what this is here for, and what this is about. people want to join the team, I've reached out. I even have the little reach out down here. See, live Saturdays at 4 p.m. Central. That's why I'm doing this, because I want to continue that. And I'm just perusing real quick to see if there's any other things I can update or tell the audience for tomorrow. No, just join me tonight being tomorrow. At probably about 4 o'clock. I'm going to be recording a podcast before that, so 4 o'clock would be the good time to do that. I would like to thank our live guest for coming on, hopping on, listening to me babble. I like her name for the episode, so I just said to you, I'm gonna be hopping off here, but I do like your name for the episode, so I'm gonna use that as long as that's okay with you, because they have this thing about putting swear words in your YouTube titles. I actually wanted to title, when we got Wade Miley, I wanted to title it Wade motherfucking Miley, and I'll probably get banned for even swearing, but they did not like that. They were trying to block me from posting it as that title, so I quickly had to rewrite that title and change it. But yeah, that's what I got. Right, yeah, even with an asterisk. No, I did put the asterisk in, and they were like, "We know what that means. We know you're trying to swear at us." Yeah, I'm being serious. YouTube is one of those things you just kind of got to learn as you go and kind of figure out different things as you go, and like, it's a learning curve every day. But hey, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving some conversation, adding to the conversation. I love when people do this because it just makes my job a lot easier and makes it easier to steer down a rabbit hole and talk about payroll for 20 minutes. And I enjoy that. That's fun for me. So thank you guys. As always, go over to the website, smash that like button, subscribe, come join me live like tonight's guest did. I appreciate that. I appreciate you for being here. And we'll be back 5:30 a.m. tomorrow, 4 o'clock tomorrow night. You name it, we'll be here. So thanks for watching. You guys have a great rest of your day, and go Brewers.
Thank you for watching the Miller Park Minute. Go Brewers.